My in-laws kicked me out of the house after finding out about our open marriage. I'm 24 female, my husband is 29 male. I was forced to marry him 2 years ago by my parents. For context, we are in India. I said no, because I felt I was too young, but they gave me no choice and threatened to kick me out. I didn't have a job and they scared me a lot, and many of my relatives started pressuring me, and I broke under pressure. They married me to my husband because he was rich. I was expecting the worst, but he's nice. He keeps to himself most of the time. The first month was miserable. I felt alone in a strange home. Husband didn't talk to me much and my mother-in-law is annoying as hell. I complained to my parents, but they said I'll adjust in a few months and I shouldn't worry because they're nice people. One day, my husband approached me and said he needed to talk. He said that he could see I wasn't happy with this marriage and he wasn't happy either because his parents forced him as well. He said that we should open the marriage. I agreed. We made some ground rules as well. Everything went fine after that. I never pursued a serious relationship, only casual stuff, and I've only been with 3 men. My husband had a girlfriend for 6 months but they broke up. I don't know the reason. I know he goes to the bar with his friends to have one-night stands and all of that. We have to share the same room so that my in-laws don't get suspicious, and I know whenever he comes back home late. I did get jealous sometimes and realized I was somewhat attracted to him, but when I decided to ask him if he wanted to try marriage counseling, he made another girlfriend, so I dropped the idea. Things have been like this since 2 years. Our in-laws never suspected anything. We would act normal at functions and festivals, so our relatives thought we were fine. My parents also pulled the "I told you" and said they knew we would like each other. My husband and I have also developed a friendship. He's a great guy, but I don't think he's interested in me that way, so I try not to make things awkward. It seems funny now that I think about it because we're literally husband and wife, but it's whatever. Now, I had a date planned with a guy the first met on Tinder. We were going to meet in a mall. It was so stupid to meet in a mall now that I think about it, but oh well. During our date, my husband's close cousin bumped into us. She was there with her 2 daughters for shopping. I quickly introduced my date as a colleague of mine and I thought it worked because she just smiled and we chatted for a while before she left. My date knew I was in a secret open relationship, so he understood my situation. When I went back home, my mill was furious and she started shouting at me and calling me names. The cousin told her mom, who in turn told my mother-in-law, and she must have twisted the tale because my mill was calling me names and whatnot. I tried to make her understand that he was just a colleague, but she said I was lying and I was a witch and some other names I don't want to type out. She and her husband forced me to pack my bags and leave my husband's house. They must have already told my parents, and they also gave me a lecture about how I had ruined their reputation and I wasn't allowed back home. Thankfully, I have a job, so I'm not financially dependent on anyone. I have booked a room in a hotel for myself. My husband called and asked me about what happened and I told him everything truthfully. He was quiet and sounded angry, but I didn't pry. He told me that he'll do something about this and hasn't called back since. I haven't called him either and I'm scared to. I'm not allowed back home. Half of my belongings are still in my husband's house. I can live with my friend till I find a place for myself, but I don't want to be a burden. I don't know what I'm going to do now. I've grown attached to my husband and it'll make me sad if this leads to divorce. And if I'm divorced, then no one will respect me because divorced women get a lot of shit from everyone. My family will also disown me, if they haven't already. I'll have to change states if I want to live happily again. I'm at a loss here. How should I approach this situation now? TLDR, my husband and I were forced to marry each other. We decided to open the relationship secretly. We've been open for 2 years now without much problem. I was on a date and my husband's cousin saw me. I made up an excuse, but it didn't work. My in-laws kicked me out of the house. My family isn't allowing me back to my maternal house. Husband said he'll do something about it. I don't want a divorce, but it seems inevitable. I don't know what to do now. You should repost this on our Twox India Redditors. They would suggest you better, as the sub is mainly of Indian women, and is pretty helpful. Hold your head up. Write a book about this. Move somewhere else, such as the US. I think you should let your husband know how you feel about him. You seem to like him and maybe want to have a traditional relationship with him. You have nothing to lose by telling him now. Sheesh, thank God I'm American lol. I think you need to call your husband back and ask him what is he going to do. Explain him you are very worried about and that maybe he can say he knows your date is your colleague and that you weren't lying. I hope you can change state or country if that doesn't WOTK. I hope your husband can help you with some money if it's not possible for you to come back to his house. I hope everything goes well with you. Wow, this was a total roller coaster ride lol. This is the kind of thing that happens when your parents force you into things. It's honestly really sad. Another shitty toxic culture. Grow a spine. You have a job and financial independence. You're free. Fuck your idiot husband, his toxic family and yours. Who cares what strangers might think? Move far away, start fresh and enjoy your freedom. Get divorced and then date outside your culture. There are so many men out there. Don't limit yourself to abusive customs.